So catch me if I fall.
Because of his unique experience as a lunar astronaut, Buzz Aldrin is one of the few persons who have set foot on the moon. Aldrin provided a wealth of knowledge about the moon later in life. What could it be that was seen from a distance? Something exists out there. Be ready to have your understanding of the moon challenged, as Buzz Aldrin discloses in this video that the moon is not what you may have thought. Buzz Aldrin is a name that conjures up images of daring, courage, and human achievement that is really groundbreaking. It's hard to think of Apollo 11 without seeing that momentous mission and Buzz Aldrin's part in it. This man became a symbol of humanity's desire to travel beyond our planet's bounds. He danced with the stars, walked on the moon, and more. Aldrin brought to Apollo 11 a perfect mix of military precision and intellectual prowess. Having earned a PhD from MIT, his expertise in rendezvous strategies was essential to the mission's accomplishment. Aldrin was NASA's go-to man for technical knowledge, but let's not limit our discussion to his intelligence. During the Korean War, Buzz flew combat flights as an ace fighter pilot. What an action figure. Aldrin piloted the lunar module on Apollo 11. Despite the title's seeming limitations, its importance cannot be emphasized. Aldrin was in charge of overseeing the intricate systems of the Eagle lunar module, making sure it could descend to the moon's surface and subsequently return to the command module. Aldrin kept a close check on every light, switch, and bit of information. He played the crucial role that separated mission success from certain disaster. And then, even decades later, the moment arrived that we all look forward to, the journey to the moon. With the help of Aldrin's deft hands and astute thinking, the Eagle broke away from the command module and began its momentous trip to the lunar surface. There were several obstacles to overcome, including rocks on the landing spot, a navigation computer that was giving out alerts, and dangerously low fuel. But Aldrin and Armstrong handled these difficulties with an unbelievably cool demeanor, making split-second choices that would eventually guarantee their safe arrival on the Sea of Tranquility on the moon. Buzz Aldrin was the next person to set foot on the lunar surface, following Armstrong's famous "one small step" proclamation. He spoke of the sight as glorious desolation as he, down the ladder and reached the surface of the moon. The ethereal beauty and desolation of this foreign realm were captured in his beautiful words. Buzz conducted experiments, planted the American flag, and even took a minute to engage in a symbolic act of communion as a means of introspection. Remember, he was a scientist as well as a humanist, participating in endeavors that demonstrated the fusion of intense technical effort with deep human experience. Aldrin engaged in more than just walking and working on the moon. He even demonstrated in a light-hearted manner what it felt like to move in the moon's lower gravity. To the surprise and amazement of millions of people on Earth, he hopped, skipped, and enthusiastically displayed the moon's distinct surroundings. He captured a number of well-known images, including one of his boot print on the moon that demonstrated the effects of soil pressure. Moreover, he snapped one of the first selfies in space. He was in one of the most famous pictures ever shot, which was taken by Armstrong and included Aldrin saluting the American flag on the moon, as Armstrong's reflection was visible through the visor of his helmet. He and Armstrong had a historic phone conversation in which President Richard Nixon congratulated them on their accomplishment. Nixon declared that they had accomplished a huge advancement for humanity and referred to them as the two most renowned guys in history. Following Armstrong, he re-entered the lunar module and got ready for the ascent. They were propelled away from the moon when he turned on a switch that transmitted an electric charge to start the ascent engine. Then, in the Columbia Command module, he docked with Michael Collins, who was circling the moon. In addition to his immense technical expertise, Aldrin brought a great deal of personality and energy to Apollo 11. During the Apollo 11 lunar mission, Buzz Aldrin became the first person to suffer from space sickness in human history. Motion sickness, or space sickness, is a condition when the brain receives contradicting information about how the body should move and orient in a weightless environment from the inner ear and the eyes. Symptoms of space sickness include headaches, nausea, vomiting, exhaustion, and appetite loss. Remarkably, at the time, nothing was known about or commented about Aldrin's space sickness, since NASA preferred to highlight the mission's advantages and steer clear of any bad press. Nevertheless, Buzz Aldrin eventually discussed his space sickness in interviews and documentaries and disclosed it in his memoirs. In order to aid upcoming astronauts and space travelers in anticipating and avoiding space sickness, he wanted to share his experience. In addition, he wanted to demonstrate that, like everyone else, he was a vulnerable human being. On the third day of the flight, Buzz Aldrin experienced space sickness while conducting tests and maneuvers within the Columbia Command Module. He was putting a sextant to the test, which calculates the position and velocity of a spaceship by measuring the angle between two celestial objects. In addition, he performed an experiment in zero gravity using a floating pen and paper. After shaking his head quickly or shifting positions, he became ill and felt lost. He informed Michael Collins, Neil Armstrong, and Mission Control of his condition. Buzz Aldrin made an effort to manage his space sickness by sleeping, taking medicine, and avoiding abrupt movements. To calm his stomach, he also ate crackers and drank water. Although he did not throw up, he had nausea and discomfort for around 2 days. He was concerned that his space sickness might impair his abilities and put the expedition in danger. In addition, he was worried about how the world would perceive his illness, since he did not want to lose his heroic and courageous reputation. Luckily, Buzz Aldrin overcame his space sickness in time to board the lunar module Eagle and travel to the moon alongside Armstrong. He had no trouble carrying out his responsibilities as the lunar module pilot and the second person to set foot on the moon. He did, however, provide some really startling details concerning his time spent on the moon. The possibility that there are undiscovered buildings or possibly a base on the moon's far side is one of his most interesting theories. This theory is exciting and full of the appeal of the unknown, regardless of whether it's the remains of a long-gone civilization or the creation of alien entities. Let's go straight to the point of Aldrin's recommendation now. He has brought up strange abnormalities that have been seen on the moon in interviews and public appearances. Strange, incomprehensible formations or structures that are difficult to rule out as naturally occurring geological characteristics are among these oddities. According to Aldrin, they may be signs of something greater, like a secret base or relic from a vanished society, or even something extraterrestrial. The moon's far side, sometimes known as the black side, is still mainly uncharted territory. Because of the moon's synchronous revolution, this side is always facing away from Earth. It's a mysterious location where the inexplicable might easily lurk, and where the amazing possibilities are endless due to our restricted understanding. Aldrin's proposal draws on this enigma, igniting our curiosity and fostering our want to learn more. Could a base or secret constructions actually exist on the moon? Aldrin's remarks have sparked a lot of conjecture and enthusiasm. People are sifting through lunar photos in search of evidence of man-made architecture. Some say they have discovered proof of bridges, towers, and even intricate constructions. The fact that an experienced astronaut like Ed Aldrin pondered the theory lends a degree of weight that's difficult to deny, even if many of these discoveries can be attributed to pareidolia, the sight of patterns when none truly exist. It's interesting to note that Aldrin is not just speculating on this topic. He has made a concerted effort to advocate for more lunar exploration, particularly on its far side. In addition to satisfying our curiosity, his goal is to uncover potentially important information that might further humanity's comprehension of the universe and our role in it. In the event if there were prehistoric buildings or extraterrestrial bases on the moon, learning about and exploring them may result in scientific breakthroughs, historical discoveries, and a whole new outlook on life as we know it. Not to mention the spirit of adventure that Aldrin's concept reflects. The imaginations of young and old alike are piqued by the idea that there could be riches concealed there just waiting to be found. It brings to mind the era of adventurers and treasure seekers when maps were marked with the phrase, "Here be dragons," and the unknown called to the fearless and daring with a siren's voice. Aldrin's concept makes perfect sense in the context of the space age and the human need to constantly push the boundaries of knowledge. If there are undiscovered buildings on the moon, they provide an alluring challenge. How do they look? The builder of them? What is their age? The search for the answers to these queries is thrilling because they could hold the key to the modern exploratory world's holy grail. Aldrin is a champion of curiosity, adventure, and the quest of knowledge, and his appeal for research and exploration is no different. This phrase strikes a chord with people who don't think we've learned everything there is to know about the cosmos. It's a spark that ignites the creative sparks of dreamers, scientists, and adventurers alike. But few events in space travel history captivate the imagination as much as astronaut Edwin Aldrin's description of witnessing an odd object during the famous Apollo 11 journey to the moon. In July 1969, the Apollo 11 mission was the center of attention. The three people who represented humanity's first ever moon landing attempt were Armstrong, Collins, and Aldrin. Aldrin witnessed something when they were speeding through space in their command module that would cause controversy, give rise to a myriad of theories, and stoke our cosmic curiosity for many years to come. Glancing out the window, Aldrin noticed something strange drifting beside them. This wasn't simply a passing image, it was undeniably there, palpable and very much genuine. Neither the item nor any identifiable space debris belonged to their spacecraft. It did not seem to be falling aimlessly, rather it moved with a certain amount of control. Not only did the item appear, but the quality of the witness added to the fascination of this experience. Recall that Aldrin was an astronaut, a man of science educated to observe and record with exactitude and precision. He wasn't simply any old Joe with a casual statement. This was a man who had spent many hours practicing and testing to make sure he would be prepared to record every step of the expedition when it came time. Imagine witnessing something mysterious outside your window while millions of kilometers from Earth in the vast black nothingness of space. Of course, the first thing that would cross anyone's mind is, what on Earth, or rather what off Earth, is it? Aldrin and the other members of his team must have questioned this. The astronauts on Apollo 11 were reluctant to report the unusual encounter to mission control right away, which served to forward the scheme. They decided to start by asking oblique questions about where the stage of the Saturn V rocket they had just disconnected from was located. This was to see if this discarded part may be what Aldrin was seeing. Whatever Aldrin was observing was very obviously not the stage in question, since the reaction revealed that it was 6,000 miles away. The item was the subject of much speculation. Was it a reflection of an internal spaceship component, an optical illusion, or, as many aficionados ventured to speculate, proof that another sentient species was keenly interested in humanity's historic first trip to the moon? The fact that Aldrin didn't back down from this story after coming back to Earth only served to heighten the intrigue around the incident. Rather, he spoke it candidly in interviews. He was open about his observations, feelings, and personal interpretations of what happened. Although he was cautious not to draw any judgments too quickly, it was evident that he witnessed something that was truly unidentified. This story from the Apollo 11 mission is a powerful reminder that space is still a huge and largely uncharted territory. There is still so much we don't know, despite having the most sophisticated technologies and highly skilled brains working for us. The intriguing prospect of innumerable secrets lying in the wide reaches waiting for us to unravel is highlighted by Aldrin's experience. Many people have been inspired to go deeper and pose more profound questions about our cosmos and our role within it by what Aldrin observed. It has motivated seasoned scientists as well as casual astronomers to continue to observe the skies and remain receptive to the limitless opportunities that space affords. Apollo 11 is remembered in space exploration history as the pinnacle of human achievement. However, the story is imbued with a hint of enchantment and awe by virtue of this surprising and inexplicable turn of events. But hold on until you hear some of Aldrin's other claims about the universe. We are not alone in this vast universe. It almost seems ridiculous to suppose that Earth is the lone home for life when you take a moment to reflect on the incredible size of the cosmos. Consider this: billions of galaxies exist and billions of stars abound in each of them. Numerous planets orbit those stars in orbit. Aldrin makes this idea quite clear. It all seems so little to consider Earth to be a singular cosmic aberration in the face of such extent. How could humans be the sole sentient creatures in our little portion of the Milky Way? It has never occurred to Aldrin to back down from the monumental. This guy made the historic leap for humanity onto the lunar surface alongside Neil Armstrong. Long before most of us were ever thinking about the possibility of having foreign neighbors, his feet made contact with alien land. His opinions are supported by this first-hand experience. Why couldn't other living forms be staring at their moons and stars and considering the limitless possibilities just like humans if they could walk on our moon? It's clear that Buzz is passionate about space travel and dedicated to expanding our knowledge of the universe. Having experienced firsthand the foreign, unearthly and cosmic unknowns, he has emerged with a belief that permeates space-time itself. We are not the only ones here. Let's explore this cosmic perspective in more detail now. Envision an expansive ocean brimming with diverse animals ranging from the tiniest plankton to the enormous blue whale. Wouldn't it be absurd to suppose that life only existed in that one drop of ocean if Earth were a single drop? Though the wonders of the cosmos are genuinely beyond our grasp, our scientists and astronomers continue to make discoveries that stretch the limits of what we know. The discovery of exoplanets is happening at an incredible rate, and a large number of them are in the Goldilocks zone, that enchanted area around a star where circumstances might be ideal for life as we know it. If it doesn't spark your creativity, think about this. Only these planets have we discovered. There must be a gazillion more out there, possibly brimming with life, just waiting to be found. Aldrin's claims are likewise subject to a nuanced but persuasive refutation. He is calling on mankind to carry on with its cosmic adventure. His opinion that alien life exists is more than simply a claim. It's a strong argument in favor of deeper research. It's an invitation to a future in which interplanetary travel is a real possibility rather than merely the stuff of science fiction. Imagine the cultures we could encounter, the civilizations we could experience firsthand, and the cosmic riddles we could eventually solve. Consider the possible forms that alien life may have in addition to those that could arise from biological organisms. Creatures made of silicon, gas giants with sentient bodies floating in midair, or even pure energy creatures. Aldrin's belief is proof of the limitless opportunities that await in the universe, which is a playground of infinite possibility. Although detractors may contend that there isn't any hard proof of alien life, Aldrin's viewpoint is optimistic and based in possibility. It serves as a helpful reminder to constantly be curious and to have an open mind. The idea that life exists beyond Earth is not only conceivable but quite feasible given the size of the cosmos and the fascinating discoveries of exoplanets and the secrets they conceal. Scientists and explorers have been fascinated by the intriguing issue of life on the moon for decades. However, how could life have started or reached the moon? Certain fundamental elements are necessary for life as we know it, including organic molecules, liquid water, energy sources, and appropriate temperatures. Life is extremely hard and arid on the moon. It lacks a magnetic field, an atmosphere, plate tectonics, and volcanic activity. It is subjected to a wide range of temperatures, from 127 degrees Celsius or 261 degrees Fahrenheit during the day to 173 degrees Celsius or negative 279 degrees Fahrenheit at night. In addition, meteorites, solar wind, and cosmic rays are hurled towards it. It is highly improbable that life could have emerged on the moon by itself under these circumstances. The elements and mechanisms required for life to begin and develop are absent on the moon. This does not rule out the possibility that life originated elsewhere and traveled to the moon. Panspermia and human action are the two probable scenarios in which life may have been carried to the moon. The idea known as panspermia holds that natural processes like asteroids, comets, or interstellar dust can disperse life throughout the cosmos. This theory suggests that life may have started on Earth or another planet and spread to other worlds, including the moon, through space pebbles. According to some experts, there could be signs of microbial life from Earth or Mars in some of the lunar rocks that the Apollo missions brought back. However, there is no solid evidence to support this concept, making it very speculative and contentious. Another possibility for life on the moon is human activity. Since the 1950s, humans have been deploying landers and spaceships to the moon. Some of these missions may have included biological experimentation or pollutants. An Israeli spacecraft named Bereshit, for instance, fell on the moon in 2019 carrying thousands of tardigrades, which are microscopic creatures that can withstand harsh environments. Although this is equally debatable and questionable, some scientists have hypothesized that these tardigrades could still be living on the moon. If there is life on the moon, it must be incredibly hardy and basic, like fungus or bacteria. It would also need to be able to endure in extremely restricted and solitary environments, such inside ice or rocks. It would also need to adapt to the moon's dearth of nutrients, water, and energy sources. the likelihood of finding sophisticated or multicellular life on the moon is quite low.